Morning Shot is all about South Africa first and sovereignty of the South African people, but it looks like the ANC is still pursuing divide and conquer tactics along racial lines, because only recently SAPRA, which regulates medication and production in South Africa, has come out to say they might want BEE points in order to issue licenses. And for us, this is a bad idea.
It is a bad idea, Ramon, because if you look at it, what SOPRA are attempting to do is the same thing that many other industries in the country have done. In the finance industry, it is a requirement that every year you must provide a BEE statement, a certificate, if you will. If you don't have any black ownership, you get a level 4. So you can still provide a BEE certificate without black ownership. It just means that you are lower in the categorization. If your company is of a certain size, the government and the regulator may insist on some black ownership, and it will appear that SAPRA wants to adopt a similar strategy when it comes through to their licensing in the medical industry. As of right now, this is a draft regulation that is being pursued, a draft regulation that has got the ire and the attention of Syril.
Which is how we know about it in the first place. So thanks to Syril, we can actually discuss this particular topic. For those who might not know, SAPRA basically regulates medication, vaccinations, and especially animal vaccines in South Africa. You have to be registered with them to create, manufacture any sort of medication, and they regulate what sort of medications can be used under various circumstances. So SAPRA is a very important regulatory body. But unfortunately, as we are nationalists, South African nationalists, we do not believe that having any sort of racial quotas for the manufacturing of life-saving medication for animal or human is necessarily a good thing. So Byron makes a strong point that perhaps this is going to impact only the sort of monopolistic corporate types, which it very may well be the case. And those types are already well into the BE level phase of the South African economy. But overall, it is not something we can endorse with any certainty. It just creates racial division when there shouldn't be any.
No, but the racial division that we see in the country is an often prescribed tactic, especially in the globalist type agenda, that wants to force categorizations in the country. We obviously know that categorizations was a key component of apartheid, a component that, to be frankly, should have been consigned to the dustbin of history. Myself, I'm a fourth-generation South African. Arguably, I'm as African as they come. There are Afrikaners that have been here for 250 years, some of them 400 years, some of them from the great days of Jan van Riebeeck. But what we do know is that these individuals should be classed as African. The idea that these individuals are being forced back into the categorization of Europeans denies the people of the state their sovereignty in terms of being able to say, I identify with this land is mine, do what's in the best interest of my people, which includes the black majority. I am not European, do not push European agendas on me. It really damages the psyche of the people in this country. And so the continuation of BE legislation, unfortunately, does not foster good relations in this country.
And that is one of the ANC's greatest faults since 1994. We can talk about a variety of other things, but the bifurcation of the state along racial lines is the legacy the ANC will leave behind. And it's a real shame. It shouldn't have been this way. But unfortunately, BE helps the ANC immensely because it creates intermediaries and middlemen that can sort of graft off the state. It creates a layer of corruption that is inherent in every state, but this time it is along racial lines. Once again, not a good thing to do if you want to build a real nation.
No, but you may ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, is this just the ANC being tyrannical? Is the ANC just deeply racist? Well, I'd ask you a different question, ladies and gentlemen. How captured is the ANC with the color revolution being pushed by the Americans? Because this type of categorization is all the rage in America right now, and it appears that the ANC are adopting this color revolution that's not from our lands. So it is possible that this is, again, Western forces at play. Maybe it is the ANC being tyrannical. Maybe it's the ANC getting revenge against the whites. We don't know, because right now, The legislation that has been proposed is draft, and there is very little information being circulated around about it.
We have received quite a lot of heat on this channel in terms of stating various times that perhaps the ANC is not really in control of South Africa, and perhaps BEE is another element of that. So BEE helps the ANC immensely, but we well know affirmative action came from America in the 1960s. And this is a sort of continuation of that. We have our own different spin on it right here in South Africa, of course. But fundamentally, Sakaliga also argues that this sort of BEE licensing regime is also a good precursor to the NHI, because we must understand the NHI is going to be a pool of funds and resources, and they are going to buy stuff from licensed operators, i.e. medication from licensed operators. Now, if you need to have BEE to become a licensed operator, this is a very good scheme to make sure the NHI actually gets through in a meaningful way. We are still of the opinion the NHI is a pipe dream, but you can see how the different elements of ANC policy / American policy are finding their way into South Africa and ensuring that that paradigm is still being kept in check.
When you put legislation in place, do not consider how it will be used on day 1, consider how it will be used on day 45. We don't know where day 45 is going, so we have to highlight the worst possible scenario and the potential outcomes that can be led thereof. You do not create legislation for today, you create it for tomorrow, but we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So all we can do, ladies and gentlemen, is right now highlight what the potential dangers of this legislation is, highlight that this isn't a good step for the country as a whole, highlight it's not for the benefit of the people, and we should probably fight against this legislation, because bean countering shouldn't really exist in 2023.
And any sort of state approval to become economically independent should also be fought for tooth and nail. So if this story really touches you on your studio, please go join Sakaliga. We will leave a link down in the description down below. And together, black, white, colored, Indian, as long as we're all South Africans, we need to make a country for our children. This sort of shit won't fly from wherever it comes from.